Tonight on NAIT NewsWatch.
Two Edmontonians are building tiny houses for the homeless, but are in need of volunteers.
We get to spend time together, we get to create together, we get to inspire other people in what we're doing.
Budget cuts are on their way. What does this mean for NAIT students?
They're planning for financial sustainability as well.
Come December, a new face will be stepping into the president role here at NAIT.
The exciting part for me is to try and keep things going and build on a strong foundation.
NewsWatch starts now.
Good evening. The provincial government is dropping its much-anticipated budget in just under 2 weeks. Post-secondary education may be one area where there's some government belt-tightening,
Potentially resulting in tuition hikes and less funding for programs. What does this mean for NAIT? James Snedden is live in the South Lobby with more on how colleges are bracing for financial impact.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Montana. Since coming into power in April, the UCP has already made changes to public school systems across Alberta, causing uncertainty over how funds will be spent across public schooling. Post-secondary institutions are no exception to this, as they will face cuts. Government officials have described them as quite obvious. There has been a lot of speculation that come October 24th, the halls of learning in colleges and universities will be forced to make tough decisions when it comes to delivering education. Over at MacEwan, some are resigned to the potential of tuition going up and some slashing to services and staffing.
What most people are doing is kind of starting to hold their ground and accept the fact that it probably will be cut and tuition's probably going to go up, especially with the freeze being over. So I think we are all mentally ready for it, but as a matter of actually facing it, that's a whole other story, I think.
NAIT is another post-secondary institution that may be adversely affected by budget cuts. While officials are waiting for exact numbers, they have already looked at cost-cutting measures, one being a 10% tuition hike for international students.
We have like immigration and for international students, and as well as scholarships and grants. So that will be some of the things that will affect students, and it's all over the province as well.
According to Alberta's Blue Ribbon Finance Panel, the province spends roughly $35,000 per full-time student. This figure is larger than Ontario, BC or Quebec. That said, pre-budget remarks from the UCP government indicate that they want to see less reliance on that public money and more on financial donations to schools from business partners.
They're planning for financial sustainability as well, and that because they're partnering with industry solutions. So I think they have plans for if in case there's spending reductions.
Premier Kenney says that he is not going to emulate what Ralph Klein did in 1993, where 20% of public spending was slashed. However, there is no denying that spending restraints are coming.
How have universities been responding to the cuts?
Well, the University of Alberta President David Turpin addressed students last week regarding this issue. He says that tuition fees are going up for certain programs at the U of A. In order to counter this problem, he has created a bursary for students in need with whatever remaining funds will be left.
How will the result of the general election affect these cuts?
Well, that would depend on two factors, the winner of the election and how the budget figures will vary when that time comes on October the 24th. However, there is no denying that the federal election result will affect the provincial education, be that for better or for worse.
Thanks, James. That's James Snedden reporting live from the South Lobby. The federal election is underway and ballots have already been cast at advanced polls this week. NAIT, MacEwan, and the University of Alberta all hosted advanced polling stations. This early voting program at post-secondary institutions is a first for Elections Canada. The goal is to increase young voter turnout.
I think it's a really great opportunity to have the students get involved with what's going on out there.
The advanced polls were open to anyone regardless of riding. The next early voting begins today and runs till Monday with assigned voting stations.
You're watching NAIT NewsWatch, the next generation of news.
NAIT is going to have a new leader for the foreseeable future. It's been announced that Dr. Ray Block will be the interim president and CEO in December. Dr. Ray Block is currently NAIT's Vice President of Administration and CFO. On December 16th, he will step into the role of president after Dr. Glenn Feltham retires.
So awesome and so skilled in so many ways. For me, it'll be a change in terms of it'll be a team effort. So we'll see more of the other executive engaged.
Dr. Block is a NAIT alumni and has been an executive committee member at the institution since 2011.
Edmonton Fire Rescue Services kicked off this year's Fire Prevention Week with a demonstration about how to create a home escape plan. This year's theme is Not Every Hero Wears a Cape. The chief and several firefighters presented safety tips for the holidays at Fire Station 1 in the downtown core. They say the most dangerous place in a house is where the cooking happens, and even keeping a lid by the stove to cover the pan can make a difference, but that having a home escape plan is essential.
Our recommendation is you take that home escape plan very seriously, you do practice it, and should there be an occasion to have to use it, you're going to know what to do, and your children will know what to do.
Firefighters are advising that an escape plan and a working fire alarm in every room are the best ways to be prepared.
Climate activists staged a peaceful protest and blocked traffic on the Walter Dale Bridge Monday morning. At 7 a.m., the nonviolent protest broke out. Bus routes were rerouted and traffic was at a standstill. After a little over an hour, police and protesters came to a resolution and they left the area. Police Chief Dale McPhee responded to the incident on Tuesday.
While no charges were laid at the scene, the incident is now under investigation as possible charges could be laid at a future date.
Drivers were unable to cross the bridge, but the climate group claiming responsibility say they informed emergency services. Similar demonstrations happened in major Canadian cities, and police are thanking citizens for their patience.
The Chapter's Bookstore in Old Strathcona is closing its doors after more than 20 years on 82nd Street. Shoppers are coming through the door to take in the experience of the store one last time. Chapters is nestled in the Garneau area by the University of Alberta. Many students purchased textbooks at the nearby bookstore and used it as a study space.
It was pretty great having a chapter so close to campus and to where I lived. I actually lived in the Garneau area for my entire university degree, so it was definitely like a staple of White Avenue.
Chapter Strathcona began its closing sale earlier this week and will officially be closed on October 27th, but the space will not be empty for long. Imagine if your house was just the size of your bedroom, but your living room, kitchen, and bathroom were all squeezed in there too.
Two best friends here in Edmonton are making tiny houses in the hope to provide affordable housing for the homeless. Our reporter Jaylene Holohan has more details on the story.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks, Montana. As you can see beside me is this tiny house, but what's not so tiny is the love and hard work that went into it. One cut at a time, Mark Campbell is working hard to make a difference. With his best friend Maxine Watson, the two are making tiny houses out of recycled goods for those in need.
The difference between talking about something and doing something is really huge. I thought, you know what, we can make a difference. Instead of buying wood, we'll just use some used wood.
Campbell's motivation comes from his past experiences. After being homeless himself, he understands the struggle of people just needing help.
Big step.
Now, his primary focus is building tiny houses. And for Watson, like her childhood spent in the Yukon, she says it's like building forts with her best friend, but for a good cause.
So I hang out with my best friend every day, and we get to spend time together, and we get to create together, we get to inspire other people in what we're doing.
So far, the pair have made 4 tiny homes and are hoping to have people living in them once they clear government hurdles. Contractors like Julian are pitching in as well to put some finishing touches on these miniature homes.
We have a lot of exotic wood and aluminum work that we donate to Big Hearts Tiny Houses. It really gives an extra edge to the structures when you look at them at the final product.
Everybody has something to offer, always. And it's about dialing in and narrowing down what that is and how it can be of value.
Big Hearts Tiny Houses is always looking for extra donations and volunteers.
If your heart is feeling big, you can donate or help volunteer. Check out their website, bigheartstinyhouses.ca, for more information. For NAIT NewsWatch, I'm Jaylene Hollahan.
The rehabilitated City Hall fountain was revealed earlier this week and will be ready for ice skating this winter. The 25-year-old fountain was renewed to increase accessibility and meet the water circulation standards of Alberta Health Services. The City of Edmonton conducted a test of the 420 jet nozzles before preparing the pool for winter skating.
Previously we had stairs all the way around the fountain, which made it a little bit tougher to get in and out of, and so this is going to allow for, we believe, greater use in the summer and in the winter for skating.
The heavy rain over the summer caused a few delays for the $17 million project, but the fountain will be open and operational this spring.
Coming up after the break, we speak with a NAIT student who is spending Thanksgiving over 1,000 kilometers away from her family.
And how she is dealing with being on her own during the holidays.
Normally I'm with my family on that day and I don't see them that often, so it makes you see them and connect with them, spend time with them.
Coming up in sports, I have Nate Oaks versus Red Deer College basketball highlights. Also, I'm at the Leduc Rec Center to learn more about sledge hockey. I have that and more coming up in sports.
Don't pull out those winter jackets. The sun's not going anywhere just yet. I'll have all that and more in weather coming up next.
So, the UK has just instituted the toughest ban on ivory trade Europe has ever seen. Remember this exciting button push?
It's 1:59. My ears are bleeding. Underwear required over 40 stitches to her face. Good afternoon, it's 2 o'clock. I'm Jenna Winterburn with your NR92 News Update. You're listening to NR92.
Well, it's nice and sunny today, and I really hope it stays warm for the Thanksgiving weekend.
Me too. I'm so excited to see my family and have some turkey. I hope the weather turns out. Let's see what Chelsea has to say.
Thanks, guys. Well, last week it was a little bit chilly, and we're looking at way better weather this weekend. We're going to start off with Calgary, where it's mainly sunny, and we have a high of 9 and a low of -6. So if you want to go for that walk with the family, go right ahead, because we won't have this nice weather for long. Going over to Jasper now, it's mostly cloudy there, and it has a high of 9 and a low of -4. If you like skiing or snowboarding, make sure you get out to Marmot Basin, because they're going to see some snow over there. Now going over to Fort McMurray, they are mainly sunny as well, with a high of 12 and a low of 4. So it's nice weather for Thanksgiving. Get out with the family, go do some things with friends. Here in our hometown of Edmonton, we have a high of 10 and a low of -3, where it's mostly sunny, but on Sunday, unfortunately, we may see some flurries and no heavy snow, so that's good. On to our averages and highs and lows and our records. We have an average high of 12 and our low is 1. And then we're going over to our records. In 1964, the high was 27, and in 1959, the low was -12. So that is such a big difference from today. Last year, we did have a lot of snow around this time, about 5 to 10 centimeters. So we're doing pretty good right now. That's all I have for you today in weather. Let's get back to Montana and Aaron.
NewsWatch Weather, sponsored by NR92 Campus Radio.
Thanksgiving is a time for people to spend with their family.
For one NAIT student, she'll be eating her Thanksgiving dinner alone.
To me, Thanksgiving means time with family. I mean, you get a day off, and normally I'm with my family on that day. And
this year, Mia Hildebrandt will be spending her Thanksgiving over 1,000 kilometers away from the rest of her family. She is at NAIT playing on the women's volleyball team and taking the radio and television program. Coming from Winnipeg, Manitoba, she's having to cope with no longer seeing her family every day.
I just miss like the conversations at the dinner table, or like watching stuff on TV together. Like, it's just little things that you can't do when you call them. I don't know, it's just like the funny things that come with living with your family that you miss, and I wouldn't think that I would when I moved here.
Psychologist Paul Sussman says that even though Thanksgiving is a relatively small holiday for some people, it can still highlight loneliness.
This is the first holiday that comes up, is Thanksgiving. So it's the first time you've ever had that experience. By the time you get to Christmas, you've at least been through Thanksgiving, so you know what it's like.
Now, while Mia is settling in quite well, Sussman says that if you're alone this Thanksgiving, take the time to look after yourself.
Even if you're alone and you have no one to be with, why don't you cook yourself a nice, nutritious meal and sit down and take a few deep breaths and nourish your body, get to bed early, and enjoy the fact you've got an extra day on the weekend to get back into it.
For Mia, the connection she's made at NAIT gave her another way to tackle the holidays on her own.
But it's been super awesome to have my teammates and friends reach out to me and say, if you need a place to come on Thanksgiving, like, you can join my family. Like, that's what this season's about.
Zachary Flynn, NAIT NewsWatch.
The NAIT sports teams are firing up their seasons this weekend, and Paul Haleva got into a sled for his end zone challenge. Aaron, have you ever heard of sledge hockey?
I thought it was called sled hockey, but I'm really not too sure.
I honestly think you could call it either one. Let's see what Paul has to say about it this week in sports.
Thanks, Montana. Thanks, Aaron. Basketball season's coming up, and the Ooks women's basketball team are limping into the regular season. Practice on Wednesday was short-listed, as the women's team will start their season with a few players out of their lineup with injuries for a handful of games. Head coach Todd Warnick isn't fazed with the injuries, and that the veteran presence will be a strong suit for the team.
Pretty fortunate we returned 10 athletes from last year's team, so we're veteran enough that we're able to kind of push our way through here preseason, but we're hoping to get both of them back into rotation hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks.
The final preseason game between Ooks and Red Deer took place at the NAIT Gym on Friday. We start in the first quarter where the NAIT Ooks got hot early on with Sean Clancy hitting a three-pointer, then hitting a mid-range jumper, showing off his shooting skills. Not only can Sean shoot, he can drive the ball very well, getting the contact and the basket. But the center, Hugo Klusen, wanted to have his own showcase, showing off a beautiful Euro step past a defender. NAIT would take a 10-point lead heading into the second half. In the second half, Red Deer College attacked early by executing smart plays to cut the lead down to 8. But the Ooks clawed back, going on great runs to make the game unreachable. Sean Clancy was the MVP for this game, scoring 29 points. The Vegas native has good faith about himself and his teammates.
I would say we're pretty deep this year, at least 9 to 10 deep. We have a good core inside and out, and got a lot of shooters this year. A lot of guys that's energetic and ready to bring it every night.
The men's team start their season next Friday against Grand Prairie. If you haven't heard, sport climbing will make its Olympic debut in Tokyo 2020. For Jonah Street, he's got a taste of representing Canada by being a part of the national youth team. The 19-year-old Jonah Street is ranked #1 in Alberta overall in competitive climbing. Jonah is currently training to be on the Olympic team for Paris 2024. Jonah reflected on his moments in Arco, Italy, and the experience of being a part of it.
We went to Arco, Italy, and it's basically just a climbing town. So just about every shop there had climbing shoes in it. And then seeing all the competitors from the different countries was like pretty surreal.
Sherwood Park native Chuba Hubbard is a star running back for Oklahoma State University, boasting Heisman-like numbers. Chuba is a Bev Facey alumni that got a lot of attention, especially former Eskimo Jed Roberts. Jed had personal connections with coaches in NCAA and wanted to see Chuba succeed outside of Canada at the highest level.
You know, I told all my NCAA buddies, I said, you need to get on this kid, because if you don't, you're going to kick yourself. And I think we're seeing that now. I talk to my friends and they're like, man, we should have jumped on that earlier. And I'm like, yeah, you should have, man. I tried to tell you.
Sled hockey. Or is it called sledge hockey? Whatever you call it, it's a style of hockey for people with mobile disabilities. I tried it out to see how it compares to normal hockey in this week's End Zone Challenge.
The Edmonton Impact are a sled hockey team that play at the Leduc Recreation Center. For them, it was a normal practice. For me, it was a learning experience.
Holy moly!
My biggest struggle was skating in a straight line.
Oh my gosh.
Coaches offered great tips to help me stay balanced.
This is really hard. Oh my god.
I fell a lot, but it made up for moments like this.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my god. I got it.
However, the skill difference was there.
Oh, no. I just got embarrassed.
It was an unbelievable experience with a great group of people.
Okay. Okay. So I'm really impressed with you guys, so keep doing what you guys are doing, all right? So impacts on 3. 1, 2, 3, impacts! Woo!
I love these unique end zone challenges. It looks like you learned a lot, but it also looks really hard.
Yeah, the hardest part was just keeping a balance. I think I might need a couple more practices.
Honestly, Paul, it looked like you tried really hard. I don't think I'd be able to do that. Thanks for sports, Paul.
Coming up after the break, we ask students what they're thankful for.
Very thankful for being here at NAIT, because NAIT is great.
Coming up next in entertainment, I'll give y'all a chance to see a local business that's coming up in the Edmonton Fall Home Show, a chance to see the Vignette Design Series coming up in Edmonton, and a sneak peek at the new Francophone theater, L'Uni Theater. Shh, it's starting.
Our entertainment reporter Shelby got to take a peek at rehearsals for a new play put on by a local Francophone theater company.
Yeah, she actually had a great time, but I don't think she got the hang of pronouncing it yet. Let's pass things over to Shelby for more.
Thanks, guys. I had a chance to buzz my way through the Creative Hive on the West Side and explore how they inspire people in helping them succeed. Meet co-founder Des Malenka, who shares her insight and what to expect from them at the Edmonton Fall Show coming up. The Creative Hive is a new co-working space that opens up and welcomes all kinds of creative individuals to use and pursue their ideas. They hold workshops, classes, and events for those willing to explore their imaginations and learn techniques from others involved. Des explains how important it is to support local businesses, and the Edmonton Fall Home Show gives them the opportunity to share what the Creative Hive has to offer.
We're offering free workshops being run by people that are part of the Creative Hive. So there's a creative thinking workshop, there's a photography workshop, there's an architectural home tour workshop, there is a honey making workshop. There are so many workshops you can do, and they are all for free. You'll find those at the Creative Hive booth alongside the Creative Hive Market.
For more info on the Creative Hive, you can search their website and schedule a visit to see everything they have that could be beneficial for you. If you want to check out the Creative Hive and any other local businesses at the Edmonton Fall Home Show, we have 2 tickets here for a chance to win. Be the first person to tweet us at NAIT NewsWatch saying, "I want the tickets," and they're all yours. Architects, designers, and makers of the creative community are coming together to take over Edmonton's downtown core. The Vignettes Design Series is back.
Based on sensory and exploration, and these are perfect for kids to jump on, climb, and sit.
This year's festival theme is Muse 2019 and will have creative events every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday evening. The month-long event showcases Edmonton's hidden talents and features pop-up galleries filled with public art installations. I got a private tour with the CEO of Vignettes, Lee Wright, to see what's coming this year for audiences and makers to admire each other's work.
So a lot of great communities all around the world use arts and culture as an epicenter to spark development within specific areas, and that's kind of our hope, is to hopefully get Edmonton up to that level of being well known for its arts and design communities.
Tickets are available at the door or online at www.vignettesYeg.ca, and the event is here till November 2nd. Now, let's take a look at what's going on in Edmonton that could potentially change where you do your grocery shopping. Alberta Vologa introduces us to this.
Fresh Roots, a non-profit mobile grocery store that is looking to provide affordable and nutritious foods at a discounted price.
They can't have grocery stores in certain locations, and so this is kind of a way around that to bring food directly in.
The lead for Fresh Roots Edmonton, Morgan Allen, expands more on how they are solving the problem communities may suffer from when accessing food.
So whether that be physical barriers, so perhaps lack of transportation, accessibility limitations, and then also areas of the city with sort of economic barriers.
Fresh Roots is able to get their prices low through their partnership with H&W and volunteers like Seth Boucher.
Like elderly people, they say if they can't drive or they don't have a car and they live across the street or something, they can just come across the street and shop here.
And here's proof.
I just have to walk and get my fresh vegetables and fruit, and it's truly a blessing. I want to thank you all, whoever is responsible. I want to thank Fresh Roots.
Every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the Clairview Recreation Center, Fresh Roots will be there.
Approximately, I believe, 6 locations that we're going to be rolling out, and that's going to be happening kind of over every couple weeks. We're really excited to get to know all of the people in the different communities that we're going into.
So if you're looking for fresh produce, low prices, maybe you should check out Fresh Roots, mobile grocery store. Maybe they'll be coming near you. For NAIT NewsWatch, Alberta Vologa.
Looney Theatre, or Looney Theater, which I'm way better at saying it, is back for another season of sweet melodies, hilarious plays, and shows for all ages. Reuniting the English and Francophone community has never been better. Edmonton's only professional Francophone theatre company is returning and will be presenting 4 plays this year, including a play for young audiences. Looney Theatre aims to not only support artists in the Francophone community, but also provides workshops in schools to encourage French-speaking students to participate in local theatre. Director of one of the shows, Vincent Forcier, says this new play personalizes towards Albertan identity.
Also, this show that we're doing, Simone and the Whole Shebang, is a newer play that is very much about the Albertan identity. The play takes place in Fort McMurray and really touches on a lot of subjects that are innately Albertan.
The theatre will provide the plays with English surtitles, which welcomes both communities and stays until October 26th. Now, have you caught the Tony and Grammy award-winning musical yet? The Color Purple stars an all-Canadian cast with a mix of nice music, raw emotion, and insight that you don't want to miss. The Color Purple musical is based off a novel by Alice Walker, which was published in 1982 that involves issues on woman empowerment and prejudice. It centers around a young African-American teenager named Celie, who was raised in Georgia that suffers through oppression and abuse in the 1900s. I won't try to give away too much though, besides the fact that this historic production is being called amazing, and seeing these performers on Edmonton's stage is quite a thrill. You only have until October 13th to catch this musical at the Citadel, so don't hesitate to get your tickets today. Well, that's all I got for entertainment. Thanks for watching to see what Edmonton has coming, and have a great weekend. Back to you, Aaron in Montana.
With the long weekend coming up, we decided to do something a little different on the show this week.
We asked NAIT students what they're thankful for this Thanksgiving.
We are thankful for family gathering. My dog Pepper, because we've had her for 11 years, and my life would have a little less joy without her.
I'm thankful for beer.
My family. My niece and my nephews, so my family. My family. My program.
Thank you for the food.
Family and friends.
I am very thankful for being here at NAIT, because NAIT is great, just like you are.
Edmonton has a variety of events to attend this weekend. A white wine fest hosted by Wine and Beyond, a Thanksgiving meal to go at the Expo Center, and a jam session at River City Revival House, along with many other events.
Thanks for watching NAIT NewsWatch.
Have a great weekend and happy Thanksgiving.